Good day, everyone. Welcome to my class. Before we start our class, let us pray first. Anyone who wants to lead the prayer? Yes, Miss Cherise.
Okay, Mom. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Father in heaven, we are here before you. Help us to study well. Help us to be obedient and honest. Help us to love one another. Bless our teacher, bless our school, bless our country, and bring us all to heaven. Amen.
Thank you, Miss Cherise. And for our attendance, Mr. Secretary, please check the attendance for me. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So before we start our lesson, let us check your prior knowledge about our topic for today. So we have an activity here named What I Know. In this activity, we are going to have 5 questions that you are going to answer orally. So let's start. And can anyone please read the instruction first? Yes, Miss Cherise.
Read the questions carefully and choose the letter of the correct answer.
Thank you. So in every questions, I will be giving you 30 seconds to choose the answer. But if you think you know already the answer, just raise your hand and answer it. Let's start with the first question. What do you call the different techniques used in reading to read and understand a text effectively? A. Reading aloud. B. Reading a book. C. Speed reading. And D. Reading styles. Your 30 seconds starts now. Oh, yes, Miss Anthony, what is the answer? Mr. Anthony, yes, what is the answer?
Ma'am, I think the answer in number one is letter D.
Great, that's correct. Let's proceed to the next question. What do you call a reading style done by running through the text to note the important parts? A. Scanning, B. Skimming, C. Intensive reading, or D. Extensive reading? Oh yes, Miss Cherise. What is the answer?
Mom, I choose letter A, scanning.
Great, that's correct also. So let's proceed to the third question. This reading style is like skimming. This is also what you use when you are searching for a word in your dictionary. What do you call this reading style? A. Scanning, B. Skimming, C. Intensive reading, or D. Extensive reading? Yes, Mr. Anthony.
Ma'am, the answer in number three is letter A.
Yes, that's correct. Excellent. So let's proceed to the fourth question. Which of the following reading styles requires thorough reading to understand the purpose of a short text? A. Scanning, B. Skimming, C. Intensive reading, or D. Extensive reading? Yes, Miss Cherise.
I think the answer is letter C, intensive reading.
That's great. That's correct. So let's proceed to the last question. Which of the following reading styles uses longer text in gathering general knowledge? A. Scanning, B. Skimming, C. Intensive reading, or D. Extensive reading? Anyone, please answer that question. Do you know the answer? So the answer here is extensive. Oh yes, Mr. Anthony.
Ma'am, I think the answer in number five is letter D, extensive reading.
Correct. The answer is extensive reading. So that's correct. It seems like you already know the topic because you have a great prior knowledge about it. So let's proceed. Oh, but before we proceed to our new lesson, we will review or recall your understanding about the previous lesson regarding phrase, clause, and sentence. And here's the instruction. Let me read it for you. Directions. Identify if the following is a phrase, clause, or sentence. Write the letter P if it is a phrase, like write letter C if it is a clause, and S if it is a sentence. So I will be giving you 5 minutes to answer, and your 5 minutes starts now. So time's up. Let's answer. Who wants to answer the number one? Yes, Mr. Anthony.
Um, for number one, mom, because I love my country, I think the answer is letter C.
Very good. That's correct. Thank you. Who wants to answer number two? Yes, Miss Cherise.
We need to take care of our nature. My answer is S for sentence, mom.
Yes, that's correct. What about number three? Yes, Mr. Anthony.
Number three, in the morning, I think the answer is letter P for phrase, ma'am.
Excellent. That's a phrase. How about number four? Yes, Miss Cherise.
After a very long walk. I think, mom, the
Correct.
answer is P for phrase.
Correct. Yeah. It is an example of a praise. Thank you. For the last number who wants to answer? Yes, Mr. Anthony.
Number five, we attend the flag raising ceremony every Monday. I think the answer number five, ma'am, is letter S for sentence.
Good job. That's just a sentence. Thank you. Very good class. All of your answers are correct. You can already identify and differentiate the phrase, clause, and sentence. So it seems like you are ready for our new topic. So let's move on to our next topic, which is the different styles of reading. So reading is fun. Reading is fun because it allows you to access knowledge and even travel through different stories. However, different reading materials or texts require different reading styles. The development of reading skills plays a huge role in learning English. It increases your vocabulary, self esteem, and good communication skills. Therefore, we need to know the different reading styles to improve our reading skills. It also enables us to use them depending on the purpose. So, our topic for today is using appropriate reading styles, namely skimming, scanning, intensive reading, and extensive reading. But before we tackle about the appropriate use of different reading styles, let us know first the definition of reading styles. So, what is reading styles? Reading styles are different techniques. They help the readers to read the text effectively. Reading styles may be defined as the conscious, internally variable psychological techniques aimed at improving the effectiveness of or compensating for the breakdowns in reading comprehension on specific reading tasks and in specific contexts. There are four different reading styles in reading academic texts, namely skimming, scanning, intensive reading, and extensive reading. And to widen your understanding about these four different reading styles, listen carefully and attentively so that you can identify when to use the reading techniques appropriately and effectively. So first we have skimming. Anyone please read the skimming? Yes, Miss Charisse?
Skimming is a fast reading style that helps gather the most important or leave out parts. It is done with your eyes running through the texts, taking note of the most important information. Comprehension in this style is lower since understanding each word is not important in this.
Thank you. So skimming is a selective and strategic reading method in which you focus on the main ideas or main points of a text. Instead of closely reading every word, you are focusing on the introduction, chapter summaries, first and last sentences of the paragraphs, and bold words and text features. And knowing when and how to skim will help you become a more efficient strategic reader. You'll become better at determining what parts of the text are the most important. Skimming is a form of previewing that can help you better comprehend what you read. Skimming is reading rapidly in order to get a general overview of a text. So take note of that. When we are skimming, we are getting the general overview of a text. So here are some of the examples for skimming. Number one is looking for your favorite dish at the menu, looking to travel brochures, and getting the general news of newspaper. In the first example, looking for your favorite dish at the menu. In this example, you are not going to read every dishes that you see that was written in the menu. Instead, you are determining or you are looking of for the part that is the most important for you, which is the favorite dish that you are always eating. So that is skimming. You are just only reading the important parts. And in that situation, the important part of the text or of the menu is your favorite dish. So that's skimming. The second example is looking to travel brochures. We are skimming here also because um, when we are looking at the travel brochures, we don't read every word there, right? We're just looking into the like introduction and the text structures and the important parts of the places that we will see in that particular travel brochure. So that's skimming. And the third is getting the general news of the newspaper. So, like what I said, skimming is when you are getting the general overview of a text. In this situation, we are getting the general news of a newspaper. The material that are used is newspaper, and you are getting the general news of it. So that is skimming. You are just getting the general overview of a particular text. So, do you understand what skimming is? Do you have any
Yes,
questions?
ma'am. None, ma'am.
Very good. So thank you. So let's proceed to the next reading style, which is scanning. So scanning is a technique to find specific information from a text. Like skimming, you use your eyes running through the text while looking for the information. So, scanning is reading rapidly in order to find specific facts. Specific facts, remember that. While skimming tells you what general information is within a section, scanning helps you locate a particular information. You are rapidly reading a text to find specific information. So, many of the people or many are confused between the scanning and skimming. Just always remember that skimming is getting the general overview of a text, while scanning is getting specific information from a text. So that's the difference between the two. But in order for you to be able to understand more about scanning, let's have examples. So we have here three examples. Searching for a word in a dictionary, looking at weekly schedule, Google search list on the internet. So in the first example, searching for a word in a dictionary, for example, you want to know the meaning of the word scan. So you are going to in the dictionary app, or you will you will search the you will go to the search bar there and type the letter or the spelling of the word that you are looking for. And here we are looking for the word scan. So we first type the letter S and then the letter C and then A, and by then you probably will found or have found the word that you are looking for, the scan. So that is, we are scanning in that situation because we are looking for a specific word, which is scan, specific meaning. So that is when we are scanning. And the second example is looking at weekly schedule. When we are looking at our weekly schedule, we are just looking for a specific day or a specific time. So that is scanning because you are looking for a specific information. So the third example is Google search list on the internet. Like just like what you are seeing in the picture. There's a Google search list on the internet, and then there's a lot of landscape in the Google search list, and you are scanning or you are reading rapidly because you are looking for specific information. You are looking for specific meaning, specific word. So you are that's you are unknown. You are scanning. So that is scanning. And we do that often when we are finding a specific information. So do you have any questions regarding scanning?
None,
None,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you. So our next reading style is intensive reading. Anyone please read the intensive reading? Yes, Mr. Anthony.
Intensive reading. Intensive reading is commonly used in short text to gather important details. In this style, understanding each word is important and must be read carefully and thoroughly to get the details. Its
Yes.
purpose is to understand the literal meaning of the text. This helps the readers develop reading skills and vocabulary.
Thank you. So when we say intensive reading, learners learners read with full concentration and focus, complete focus. In this reading style, every word is important, every word matters, and must be read carefully and thoroughly to get the details because it might affect the the interpretation to the text. Intensive reading involves learners reading in detail with specific learning aims and tasks. Especially, it helps the readers develop reading skills and vocabulary. So, for you, in order to understand more about intensive reading, we'll have examples, and here are the examples. First is when you are reading the instruction in your test paper. Second is when you want to get the meaning of a poem you are reading. And third is when you try to read the instruction on the packaging of your favorite pancit canton. So let's have the first example. When you are reading the instructions in your test paper, so in this example, we carefully read the instructions. We read them word by word, and we really take time. We really uh, spend time in understanding it because we are avoiding mistakes. We are avoiding making mistakes. So that's when we are intensive reading. We are we are focusing. We are getting the literal meaning of a text or the material that we are reading. And the second is when you want to get the meaning of a poem you are reading. In this example, you you are wondering what is the message of a particular poem that you are reading. And to be able to understand that, to be able to grasp the idea or the message, you will read the word of the word, all of the words there to get the message of the poem that you are reading. So that's when you are intensive reading. You are not skipping words. You are reading it word by word because you are understanding the literal meaning of the text that you are reading. And the third example is when you try to read the instruction on the packaging of your favorite pancit canton. So here we are cooking, and to get the results that we desired, we must follow the instructions correctly because for us to be able to enjoy our favorite pancit canton. So that is intensive reading. We are um, understanding the literal meaning of the text or the material. So that's do you have any concerns or questions about intensive reading?
None,
None so
ma'am.
far, ma'am.
Thank you. So let's proceed to the last but not the least. reading style. Extensive reading. So anyone, please read. Yes, Mr. Anthony.
Extensive reading. Extensive reading is used in longer texts to gather a general knowledge. Also, this uses reading for entertainment purposes such as magazines and novels. It also helps the reader to develop fluency in reading.
Thank you. So extensive reading is also known as pleasure reading. Why pleasure reading? Because its purpose is free, independent reading that is not overly dependent upon either teacher or dictionary. We are just reading freely, reading without worries. It is the process of reading longer text for an extended period of time without a breakdown of comprehension, feeling overwhelmed, or the need to take breaks. So in this reading style, we read on our own pace. Extensive reading involves learners reading text for enjoyment and to develop general reading skills, especially in developing fluency in reading. So that is extensive reading. And for you to be able to understand more about it, we will have an example here. So our example is reading Wattpad series, magazines, and comic books. So reading what? When you are reading your favorite book or your favorite Wattpad series, we don't mind the grammatical structures or errors. Instead, we are focusing on the storyline. That's how extensive reading works. We don't mind the like, grammatical structures, but we are just reading what we the way we wanted to read, and we read what we want, and we take our time to read. So that's extensive reading. Do you understand what is extensive reading, or do you have any questions?
And so far, ma'am, yes, I
Thank,
understand, ma'am.
thank you, Mr. Anthony. So those are the four reading styles and their appropriate uses. So now that you have already know the different reading styles, let's proceed to the application of what you have learned. So we have here an activity called fact or bluff. So in this activity, we are going to determine if you really understand our lesson for today. So let's proceed. So let me read the instruction. Directions. Write the fact if the statement is correct, bluff if the statement is not true. So, number one, looking for a word in the dictionary is an example of scanning. Is it a fact or bluff? Yes, Miss Cherise?
Mom, I think it's fact.
Very good, that's correct. As I said earlier, looking for a word in the dictionary is an example of scanning because um, you are just looking for a specific word, and that is scanning. Number two, extensive reading involves rapid reading to get a general view of the material. Is it a fact or bluff? Yes, Mr. Anthony.
My answer for number two, ma'am, is bluff.
Great, that's correct. So it is bluff because the right answer is skimming. Skimming involves rapidly reading to get a general view of the material. And the extensive reading on the other side is reading for entertainment purposes. So that's a bluff. That statement is not true. Number three, scanning is used to locate specific information. Fact or bluff? Yes, Miss Chat?
Mom, my answer is fact.
Perfect. Yeah, that's correct. What about number four? Reading a novel is an example of extensive reading. Is it a fact or bluff? Yes, Mr. Anthony?
My answer is fact, ma'am.
Excellent. Yes. So what about our last number? Finding a friend's name in your contact list is an example extensive reading. Is it a fact or bluff? Yes, Miss Chat?
I think the answer is bluff.
That's correct. Good job, class. I see that you are you really understand our lesson well. So, do you have any questions? Right? You want some clarifications there?
Ma'am,
None, mom.
And
Okay. Thank you. So, before we end our session, I will be leaving you a quote about reading, which Mason Cooley stated that reading gives us some place to go when we have to stay where we are. So, with all that, I will end our session here. I will leave you. I will be leaving an additional activity and an assignment on our Google Classroom. That's all. Thank you and goodbye, class. Have a great day.
thank you, ma'am.
bye
Thank you.
ma'am. Thank you po.
Bye-bye, ma'am.